All right. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Let me know if you can see my screen or put it in the chat. All right, excellent. Okay, so we've got first question up, which is what factor does not contribute to a buyer's market? Limited new construction, people moving away from the area, increased local job layoffs, or low affordable construction costs for both materials and labor. So the question really becomes, what is a buyer's market? So a buyer's market is a market that has an abundance of inventory. So 6 months of inventory is a balanced market. So a buyer's market means there's more than 6 months of inventory that if no new properties come on the market, it would take 6 months or more to sell all the properties that are there based on how many buyers are out there looking. So if it was limited new construction, would that contribute to a buyer's market? People moving away from the area, would that contribute? Or job layoffs, low affordable construction costs for both material and labor? Put it in the chat or holler it out. Which one do you think it is? Limited construction. Okay, anybody else? A? I'm going to be the dissenting opinion on this. And you're correct. So limited new construction. So if there's not enough new homes going on the market, then that means that, oh yeah, direct. And Krista, you did it as a direct message. If you wouldn't mind doing it to everybody. So it'll say everyone, that way we can all see your answers. All right, so you guys right? So it means fewer houses available and will contribute to a seller's market. So that does not contribute to a buyer's market. See, and I actually read the question wrong, and that's important for the exam. I was saying what contributes to a buyer's market, and it says not. So be careful when you're reading these, because that'll get you in the test every time. You know, they do that on purpose to put not and this or except. So make sure you're paying attention to the question and do better than I just did. All right, next question. Goldberg lists his home with PDQ Realty, allowing them to put a sign in the yard, list it in the MLS, and advertise it in the local newspaper. During the listing period, Goldberg sells his home to his brother and is not obligated to pay PDQ any commission. What type of listing did Goldberg have with PDQ? Was it a net listing, an exclusive right to sell listing, an open listing, or an exclusive agency listing? A, B, C, or D? Got D? Okay. D. All right, excellent. Yes, it's an exclusive agency listing. So everybody got that one. Great job. A real estate agent assures a buyer that a home is free from any structural defects. As it turns out, the home has a very leaky basement. Which statement is true? Both the sales agent and the seller are liable for misrepresentation. Neither the sales agent nor the seller is liable. The seller is not liable for any misrepresentation, as the sales agent was the individual who misrepresented the condition of the property. Or the agent is not liable, as he is just an agent of the seller. A, B, C, or D? Got A. Who else? A. Okay. Are the rest of you abstaining from the vote? All right. Correct. The agent binds the principal. So the real estate agent's representation of the principal seller's property is binding upon the seller as well. So if they would both be liable. So when an agent, think about it this way, the agent represents the seller. So anything the agent says is a representation of the seller, so they would both become liable. So you are an agency. You're an agent of the seller. So yes, both the sales agent and the seller. Carol, a broker, doesn't want her husband to know she received a commission check for $35,000. So she put the money in her non-interest bearing broker's trust account that she maintains for her clients. Carol is guilty of self-dealing, commingling, cooperation, or conversion. All right. BB. I know we got more people in here in the room than this. Yeah, there's 5 people in the room besides me. All right, there we go. All right, so everybody's answering B. Good job. Commingling, yes. They're mixing the broker's money with their own, with the clients. When you mix their money with the clients, it's commingling. Good job. A broker who engages in commercial or residential property management must have a special property management trust account to receive security deposits, rents, and other funds from tenants. This account may earn interest. Who is the beneficiary of the interest on the rental receipts? Is it the tenants should receive monthly pro rata payments? The property manager has earned the interest as a bookkeeping fee. The state is entitled to the interest through a sheet, or the property owners receive the interest. Who gets the interest on the interest-bearing account? A, B, C, or D? D. All right. We got D's, D's, D's. All right. Let's see. Correct. Brokers who manage the property or others must maintain property management trust accounts. So the interest is distributed to the parties whom the monies belong. So the security deposit doesn't particularly belong to the property owner. It belongs to the tenant, is being held only as security that no damage or breach take place. So security deposits and other funds received from the tenants are deposited in the property management trust account. So the disbursement may be made to the property's expenses. So interest earned on it must be dispersed to the property owners. Interest earned on the security deposits is dispersed to the tenants. So interesting. Wasn't it a security deposit? Oh, the account, the total account. Yeah. If it's only security deposits, then it's just the tenants. So the rest of the money does go to the property owner. The difference between fraud and misrepresentation is that there is no difference between fraud and misrepresentation. Fraud is unintentional, while misrepresentation is an intentional act. Fraud is intentional. Misrepresentation, while misrepresentation may be unintentional, or a buyer can recover only compensatory damages for fraud. So we got C's. Fraud is intentional misrepresentation, while misrepresentational may be unintentional. That is correct. You guys are doing great on this. During a listing interview, a seller demands the listing agent reduce the proposed commission by 1%. What is the best course of action for the agent? Refuse the listing as commissions are not negotiable. Go ahead and reduce the commission. Call the broker and discuss the matter. Explain that commissions are generally fixed in each locality. Yeah, I thought you guys might find this one pretty quickly. All right, so C, call the broker and discuss. Correct, because it's always, anytime as an agent you're signing an agreement, it is between the seller and the broker, not you. What factor does not contribute to a buyer's market? Low affordable construction costs for both materials and labor, limited new construction, people moving away from the area, increased local job layoffs. Wow, they gave the same question twice. All right, we'll go through that one quickly because we already answered it before. Commingling refers to depositing client funds in a broker's operating account, employing realtors and non-realtors in the same office, meetings with both brokers and sales associates present, or cooperating with another broker in transaction. A. Everyone else agree? A's? A's have it? Yes. Mixing funds. Which type of listing is most desirable from the point of view of the broker? An open listing, a net listing, an exclusive agency listing, or exclusive right to sell listing? Which one would be the most desirable for a broker? So I see a C and an A. Is that C from the last one? So A or C, A. We got anybody else? C? All right. So this one we need to talk about. It's this one. So it's D. All right. So exclusive agency is a listing that says that you can list it, and if another agent brings a buyer, then you get the commission. But if the seller sells it to someone like their brother, their cousin, a neighbor's friend, or anything like that, if the seller brings a buyer, then you get nothing. So essentially you would have paid for the listing, paid for the signs, paid for the marketing, all this other stuff, but the seller wound up selling it, so you get nothing. So that's what C is, exclusive agency. So from a brokerage standpoint, it leaves the door open to you not getting anything. Exclusive right to sell means that whoever comes and buys it, it doesn't matter how it happens, whoever comes and buys it, you have the opportunity to get paid. Hopefully that makes sense. So exclusive agency is the buyer can sell it on their own and not pay you, or the seller can sell it on their own and not pay you. Exclusive right to sell means that anybody that buys it, you earned your commission from that seller. An earnest money deposit, if any is offered, is usually given to the broker at the time of sales contract, is authorized by the offeror and presented to the offeree. Absent any contrary instructions in the sales contract, the broker has a legal responsibility to deposit the check in the brokerage's special trust account, put the check in the brokerage's fireproof safe, deposit the earnest money in his operating account, or hold the check in transaction file until closing. Which do you think it is? And the interesting thing is you can almost not read the question and still get the answer right. All you have to do is read the first 4 words and then figure out what needs to happen with it from there. Any answers on this one? Am I frozen? All right. We got an A. Anyone else? Correct. If it was put in any of the other ones, well, number 3 or C would have been commingling, and then the brokerage is fireproof safe. That wouldn't have worked either. So, you know, they're authorized to put it into their trust account. That's where the money goes. A real estate agent presents a full price cash offer with no contingencies during the initial listing period. The seller refuses to sign the contract because he does not like the buyers. Which is correct? No commission can be due unless there is a closing. The listing contract would be automatically terminated. The listing agency will most likely be due a commission, or the buyer could sue for specific performance. All right, let's see what we got. C. Good job. Yes. Because there were no contingencies and it was a full price offer, they have earned their commission. So yes, they would be due, most likely due a commission from that seller. If a client's earnest money check upon being deposited in the broker's trust account is returned for insufficient funds, the broker should tell the cooperating broker that the check bounced, call the police, cover the bad check personally, or resign the agency. I think we can all get this one. All right. Okay. So you're all wrong. It's D, resign the agency. They should quit. No, I'm just kidding. It's correct. So tell the cooperating broker. So you want to make sure that any information is passed along to the other side. Which is not grounds for revocation or suspension of a license? Violation of the canons of ethics, violation of the code of ethics, violation of the Federal Fair Housing Act, or violation of the Civil Rights Act of 1866. So which is not grounds for revocation? All right, we got A. So we know the difference between the canons and the code. That is incorrect. You don't know the difference between the canons and the code. It is the code of ethics. The canons are with the National Association of Realtors. Code of ethics is with the state. So think about statutory code. Those are laws. So the code, think of the code as the law. Canons are the rules. So the canons of ethics are with the National Association of Realtors. The code of ethics is with the law. A property manager opened an interest-bearing account in which to put rents and security deposits. Funds will also be paid out for contractors who perform building maintenance. Who gets the interest on the account? The tenant, the listing broker and listing agent, or the owner? D. D. All right. That is correct, just like before. So a property management account can earn interest, unlike the broker's account. So with the interest being paid to the owner. So as long as it's a property management account, that interest is paid to the owner. All right, good job. Now let's see. Yeah, I gotta do this. All right. So we did practice of real estate. Let's look at, all right, we're going to take a vote. State or national? Put your answers in the chat. State or national? Which way are we going? All right. So state, state, state. All right. So state it is. All right. In the state, there are two categories that are of importance. That is your brokerage relationships and license law and rules of the Ohio Real Estate Commission. Which way? So let's put it to a vote. License law and rules or brokerage? So license or brokerage? License. All right. All right. We'll go license. All right. To become a broker in Ohio, a salesperson must have been licensed for, no minimum is required, 2 years, 10 years, or 1 year to become a broker. How long must you have been licensed? All right. B. So 2 years. Correct. A sales agent passes the exam on October 1st, and his license is issued on October 4th. His birthday is October 10th. When must the sales agent renew his license? On or before October 10th of that year, then every third year after, during December of that year, 3 years from his birthday, on or before January 1st of the following year. We got A's. All right. Yes. So just a reminder, if your birthday's coming up and you're about to test, it may be worth it to wait a week or two. So if it's that close, otherwise just go ahead and do it. What portion of each salesperson's license application fee is deposited in the Education and Research Fund? $1, $8, $4, or $6? A. Or was that just from the last one? No, this is a new A down here. Correct, $1. Any person, unless exempt from the Ohio Revised Code, who intends to sell, lease, or otherwise deal in any foreign real estate shall file an application with the superintendent of real estate in the form the superintendent prescribes, and shall set forth all of the answers shown, a list and description of all liens and encumbrances on the foreign real estate, and a full description of all improvements or developments of every nature to be made or promised to be made on the foreign real estate, an exact description of the foreign real estate to be sold, leased, or dealt in the form of a map or plat prepared by a competent surveyor showing the boundaries and dimensions of the foreign real estate and all lots or subdivisions therein. the names of the owners of the foreign real estate with a detailed statement showing the financial responsibility of each owner together with the post office address of each. All right, so which is it? I know that's a lot of reading, so I'll give you a minute to kind of look over it again. All right, I got an answer of A. Anyone else want to jump in the fray? All right, we got 2 A's, so all of the answers shown. That is correct. All of the answers shown. So as you can see, there's a lot to be done when you're dealing with foreign real estate. So be careful. As part of the 30 hours of continuing real estate education that is required every 3 years, what must be included? 6 hours of basic computer classes, 3 hours of training by the local board of realtors, 3 hours of civil rights and fair housing, 10 hours of post-licensing courses. So what is required? So we got C, 3 hours of civil rights and fair housing. Anything else? Anyone else? C. All right, everybody's going with C. That is correct. 3 hours of the 30 must be devoted to fair housing and civil rights. On the anniversary of the license being issued, a new broker or salesperson must be able to provide proof of a minimum number of transactions, the 30 hours of continuing education, the post-license sales review class, or membership in a board of realtors. All right, B's, the 30 hours of continuing education. That is incorrect. The post-license sales review class. So on the anniversary of the license being issued. So remember, the 30 hours of continuing education is every 3 years, 10 hours per year. So if you're talking about the anniversary of the license being issued, that's 1 year. So you would have to do the post-license sales review class. So that's 1 year after a license. So you have to do the post-license review course. Errors and omissions insurance indemnifies the broker against loss due to title defects, intentional misrepresentation, commission losses, or negligent misrepresentation. All right, got D. Anyone else? All right, got one answer. So errors and omissions insurance indemnifies the broker against what? All right, got these. Good job. Yes, negligent misrepresentation. So it has to be a mistake. It can't be due intentional misrepresentation. Errors and omission doesn't protect you against commission losses. And loss due to title defects, that's what title insurance is for. Where must a broker keep your license on file? On file at the brokerage's main place of business, in the lock filing cabinet, in his personal lock filing cabinet, or in his possession. Seems like a common sense one. All right, A's. Correct. Just needs to be at the main place of business. To maintain a license, a real estate agent must take a 10-hour post-licensing class on fair housing, take a 20-hour post-licensing class within 12 months of passing the exam, join the Board of Realtors within 6 months of passing the exam, or take 30 hours of real estate classes within 2 years of passing the exam. So what must they do? All right, B's. That is correct. A real estate license is required to sell a new mobile home still on its wheels, pre-manufactured home still in the showroom, old mobile home still on its wheels, or mobile home park. Which one requires a real estate license? All right, we got D. Oh. All right, got 2 D's. Correct. Mobile home park. When it's on its wheels, it'll still have a VIN code. That's not considered real property. That's considered a vehicle. All right, good job. Let's look at the other part of state. We got a little bit of time. So we did license laws, right? Oh, I hit the wrong one. I'm sorry, guys. We did licensing requirements. We were supposed to do this one. My bad. Which of the following is not a management level licensee? A new salesperson, salaried license office manager, team leader, or an associate broker? It should be easy. Not a management level licensee. All the other ones have management titles in them, essentially. Anybody? All right. Yes, a new salesperson. A buyer makes an offer to buy a house and faxes the offer to the seller in another state. The seller, upon receipt, signs the offer, intending to mail it back to the buyer the next morning. In the meantime, the buyer telephones the seller and withdraws the offer. What is true? There was never a rightful offer, as the offer was faxed and the seller must have received the original offer. Both parties are now bound to the terms of the contract. There is a contact, as well, it's supposed to say contract, but it says contact. There is a contract as the seller has accepted the buyer's offer, or there is no contract as the acceptance has not been delivered to the buyer. What forms a contract? So I've got D. Anyone else? All right. Good job. Yeah, no contract was formed because they had not conveyed. What protected group is covered under the Ohio Civil Rights Law, but not under the federal Civil Rights Law of 1968? Handicap, national origin, sex, or ancestry? All right, we got A, handicap. Anyone else? We got a D in there, a D and an A. So ancestry or handicap. All right, D was on first, so we'll go with D, and that is correct. Ancestry. Remember, your federal civil rights law is fresh corn. So handicap, national origin, and sex are all in there. Ancestry is not. So that's covered by Ohio civil rights law only. Which of the following grants the broker the exclusive right to represent the purchaser in the purchase of or lease of property? Agency disclosure statement, consumer guide to agency relationships, exclusive purchaser agency agreement, or buyer listing agreement? Which one authorizes the broker to represent the buyer? All right, we got a C in there. That is correct. Which of the following is violation of license law? Offering training to pre-licensed agents, offer a free CMA to a landowner, having acted as broker without authority, impeded the ability of a principal broker to perform any of the duties, or impeded the ability of a management level licensee to perform the licensee's duty, or hire other salespeople from different brokerages. So which of is a violation of license law? What do you think? C's all around. That is correct. One of those questions wasn't like the others, or answers. The principal broker has the following duties except prepare listing agreements, comply with office requirements, comply with fair housing documentation requirements, and oversee and direct operations. So the principal broker, what duties? A, B, C, or D? They have the following duties except what? So we got B. What else? Anyone else want to venture a guess in there? Nobody? Everybody's going to leave Yolanda out there all alone? No other people jumping in to provide an answer? Principal broker has the following duties except. Come on, you know this. All right. So this is actually a duty that they have to comply with. So it's prepare listing agreements, where the answer was B, but it's prepare listing agreements. So that's the only one they don't have to do. The principal broker doesn't do that. The agents usually do. So all the rest are part of their duties. For a minimum of how many years must a broker keep records? 2, 3, 1, or 5? How many years must you keep your records? This is important because if you ever get called in front of the commission or anything like that, they're going to want to see your records for the last 3 years. So just be aware. Make sure you're making copies. I guess I said it. All right, 3 years. Although not mandated by statute, the Ohio Division of Real Estate recommends that for the purposes of document handling and record keeping, all agents should have ready access to all files. A non-licensed clerical employee should have control of all files. Only the agent who works on the file should have access to that file, or all files be listed on the internet for public access. So what does the Ohio Division of Real Estate recommend? So we got some people not wanting to answer. So I would think that this is a great thing to study if you're having trouble with some of these questions. So license, law, and rules of the Ohio State Real Estate Commission. So this is a state portion of your exam. So definitely take a look and revisit some of these. All right, so we got an answer of A. All agents should have ready access to all files. That's incorrect. So it's not mandated by statute, but the division does recommend that it's a non-licensed clerical employee should have control of all files to make sure that they're documented and put in the right place. So they want them under lock and key and under the control of a non-licensed person. From where does the real estate licensee get the 19 articles of the Canons of Ethics? So Canons of Ethics, where does it come from? The Ohio Association of Realtors, the Division of Real Estate, the Ohio Real Estate Commission, or the National Association of Realtors? A, B, C, or D? All right, got some answers. So D. All right. It's the Ohio Real Estate Commission. All right. The Ohio Real Estate Code should be the commission. Interesting. The Association of Realtors promulgates a code of ethics. The Ohio Real Estate Commission is who provides licensees with ethical guidelines to be considered when a licensee is in an ethical dilemma. Let's look that up real quick. Code of Ethics versus Canons of Ethics. Real estate. Ohio. Canon of Ethics, Ohio Department of Commerce, Canons of Ethics for the real estate industry. So Code of Ethics is for realtors. So Canon is law, code is realtors. I thought I had it right the other time, and then it said it different. Okay, so take that as it is. The Code of Ethics is the realtors, And canons of ethics are the Ohio Department of Commerce, Ohio Division of Real Estate. Okay, well, good to know I had it switched. All right. If given the choice, what type of listing agreement would a seller probably prefer? Exclusive right to sell, open listing, exclusive agency agreement, or net listing? Given the choice, which would a seller prefer? All right, I got A. Okay. So that's going to be wrong. That's the one a broker would prefer. The seller would prefer exclusive agency. That way, if they brought a buyer, they don't have to pay the agent. So exclusive agency, remember, is if a seller brings the buyer, they don't have to pay an agent. So a broker would prefer exclusive right to sell. A seller would prefer exclusive agency. So it's the opposite of the question that we had before. So think, if you get confused, when you think exclusive right to sell, it's exclusive that you are the only one that has the right to sell it. Anybody else sells it, you get paid. So it's exclusively your right to sell that property. And any way that property gets sold, you get paid on it. Now, if it's exclusive agency, then that just means that it's exclusive to an agency that says if another agency brings that buyer, then you have the right to a commission. If the seller brings it, then you don't. So you don't have the right to sell it. You just have the right to be an agent if they were if that person was another agent brought it. So you'd be their agent if that happened. Hopefully that helps and it wasn't confusing. A buyer is going to make an offer on a seller's home. The listing agent asks the buyer for $1,000 in earnest money. The buyer does not want to give $1,000 in earnest money, but the listing agent says that this is state law. What statement is true? Earnest money is set by state law. The buyer must give $1,000 earnest money. Earnest money is set by federal law. But the listing agent is wrong, as there is no state law requiring a minimum or maximum amount of earnest money. D. All right. That is correct. There is no minimum or maximum on earnest money. You can put 0. The principal broker has the following duties except comply with fair housing documentation requirements, oversee and direct operations, comply with office requirements, or prepare listing agreements. We all should get this one. All right. What is the maximum number of DBA, doing business as, names a broker is allowed to operate under? Only 1, no more than 3, no more than 5, no more than 2. How many DBAs can you use as a broker? A, only 1. For somebody else? All right, we got 2 A's. That is incorrect. No more than 5. So you can have different DBAs, but you can have no more than 5 in the state of Ohio. A broker receives a client's earnest money, check, and deposits into his trust account. Prior to the closing, however, the broker needs money to pay monthly overhead expenses. He borrows some money from the trust account, fully intending to replace it before the closing. The broker is guilty of condemnation, conversion, commingling, or misrepresentation? C. All right, that's a tricky one because it's conversion. He didn't put it into another account. So the broker didn't actually mix the money, he took the money. So he converted the money into another type of money. He converted the money. So it's theft, converting funds for personal use. So commingling is if he had put it into his regular account. This is basically theft. He took it and converted it into something to pay his bills. So conversion versus commingling. Commingling is mixing of money. Conversion is theft of that money, converting their money into your own money. Who does an agent need to notify for a change of his or her home address? The Division of Real Estate, their broker, the commission, or their local board of realtors? Think about who you send your license or applications to or any of that stuff. All right. Correct, the division. So they handle all status changes, all license things. So that's Division of Real Estate. A broker receives an earnest money payment. The broker deposits the earnest money in his trust account. By law, what is the amount of interest a broker may bear on his trust account? 0, the minimum required by state usury laws, 4% or 10%. We got 4 more questions and we got 2 minutes. So lightning rounds. All right, A. So that is correct. No on the interest. Under the Ohio Real Estate Recovery Fund, the commission shall impose a special fee not to exceed $10 annually on each licensee filing a notice of renewal if the recovery fund is less than $2 million, or the commission may impose $10 at any time, or $500,000 or $3 million. Remember, lightning round, 658. If you don't know, guess. D, 3 million. So if the fund is less than 3 million, it's 500,000. So the commission, it imposes that rule if it goes below 500,000. Buyers make an offer to purchase property and to place $1,000 in earnest money into their broker's trust account. The sellers want the earnest money check made payable to them instead. The sales agent should ignore the seller's request, as this is illegal, and the sales agent does not have to follow an illegal request. Tell the sellers that the sales agent may accept a check made payable to the broker only. Write a counter offer stipulating the seller's request, or not present the offer to the sellers. All right, we got B. So it's actually D, C, I mean. So the sales agent's the only person to whom the earnest money check can be made payable. Other than that, the earnest money is to be handled according to the agreement of the parties. So if they ask for something, you write that into the offer, you make a full counter offer at that point, and it negates the previous offer. But again, earnest money is to be handled between the parties. So it's an agreement between them. It does, however it's stipulated in the contract, is how it's handled. A person making an application to the recovery fund for payment must file an application to recover within, there is no statute of limitations on a claim against the recovery fund, 1 year after termination of all court proceedings, 90 days after the termination of all court proceedings, or 60 days after the termination. So when can you make an application to the recovery fund for payment? What must you file within? 1 year. Correct, 1 year. All right, last question. A buyer makes an offer to purchase a house and gives the seller until midnight, 3 days hence, to accept the offer. Prior to acceptance, the buyer withdraws the offer. What is true? The buyer must wait until the end of the 3 days to withdraw the offer. The buyer is allowed to withdraw the offer anytime prior to acceptance. The buyer may not withdraw the offer, or there is a contract since the buyer made an offer. All right, let's finish out strong. What we got? All right, we got B. And that is correct, and great job. All right, so license law and rules, looks like we've definitely got some work to do there. So I would study that, because remember, between this and brokerage relationships, 30 of your 40 questions of the state portion of the exam are going to go with this, are going to be part of these types of questions. So at 60%, that's a failing grade. You need a 70 or better in order to pass. So definitely look into license law and the rules of the Ohio Real Estate Commission. It does trip a lot of people up. So, be careful with that. Beyond that, let me open this back up so I can see. All right. Well, thank you all.